Breann McGregor, and my special guest is Nate. So I have my special guest and friend, Nate. How are you, Nate?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
good.
So,
Tired.
yeah, so I know that you have a lot going on. You just started a business. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, I've kind of been getting out of the music touring game, which I was in for like 13 years.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of graphic design work, a lot of website work. I run a small little branding logo graphic type shop. But I'm also starting a mobile cigar lounge / coffee bar here in Tampa, and we're looking to launch next year. So I've been really busy getting that built and all the business logistics and coffee and cigars and just there's so many things that are going into it. It's pretty crazy. It's keeping me.
So your business is called Currin Enterprises, and it's a mother company of your design company as well as your music. So
Yep.
you're putting music to the side,
Yep.
but I'm sure you still play a little bit here and there, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, since COVID's been going on and the whole quarantine thing, I've done a couple online shows. I thought it'd be nice just for people that are cooped up at home to tune in and listen. And
What site did you use? That's interesting.
I did Facebook Live and Instagram Live at the same time, so people could watch either on Instagram or Facebook. So I had both set up simultaneously.
Oh,
And
neat. You're gonna have to tell me later how to do that.
yeah,
I would
I
love
will. I
to show
will.
my, another time I'd like to ask you too before I forget is that one time if we could record, like play together. I don't
That
know.
would be fun.
I just do the acoustic is what I'm more familiar with, but we could talk, chat later, something about
Yeah,
something we'd
yeah.
like to play and then kind of just play around with it.
I
That'd be
think we
fun.
even talked about that one time, maybe like years ago, like
Oh,
doing something. Yeah, and I think we
yeah.
were all so busy and we just never got around to it. But
Yeah, you were touring, so I know
yeah,
that you put that on just a temporary hold for time being, and I know you're working
yep.
on your cigar company, which I think is a really great concept that you have there, and I'm
Cool.
super
Thanks.
excited for you. How has COVID, has it in any way affected the process of getting this started until you open up next year?
Yeah, it has. So, I've got a business partner in the cigar lounge, and the two of us are 50-50 partners. And we started tossing around this idea probably 2 years ago, and then really working on it about a year ago. And that's when we incorporated and started the ball rolling and getting things built and planned. And our original goal was to actually launch the company this month. So when we started the big planning and the business stuff and everything, the investments, that was last summer 2019, and the goal was to be launched by September of 20. But because of COVID and just everything, from financial standpoint, we had the trailer custom built in Nashville,
Oh,
and
no.
so waiting on that, the company that was building it got slowed way back because of lack of supplies and manpower. And
So
I want to
COVID
say
affected them as well.
COVID affected them as well, which indirectly affected or directly affected us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Waiting for the lounge, the mobile bar to be built. And so it really, though, I mean, it's kind of a blessing in one sense, because if we had tried to launch this fall, let's say everything had just been bam, bam, bam and worked, I don't really know how much we'd be able to book this fall anyway, with quarantine still going on in places and COVID still being a concern. So it's slowed us down, but I think it's sort of been a blessing in disguise in terms of the delays that we've personally experienced,
Right.
because I just don't think we would have done well business wise because of everything going on. So we're looking to launch maybe like in the spring right now.
Yeah, and what I love about your concept with the mobile is that it is outside, and
Yeah.
what are the having no idea that COVID would hit, and you coming up with this cigar, coffee, mobile company. As it's interesting that now everything, in order for a restaurant to stay open, they need like outside spots. You need 6 feet. And for you, it's great because it is outside. You know, you come up and, you know, I'm not sure if you'd have chairs set up or whatnot, or if you'll have that. But I think that that is a huge for your advantage, because a lot of people who were inside like restaurants or whatnot, or, you know, so right now I know salons are having a hard time. In order, I want to say in Los Angeles, in order for them to cut hair, it needs to be outside. So
Yeah.
to have a business running and then to have to change your whole module to, you know, something from inside to outside, to move that out and make it to work efficiently. I think that that would be super hard to juggle. And I think that for you, my personal belief is that seeing everything going on will give you different ideas, or maybe another approach. And, you know, you're basically growing everything now. And I think that that's going to give you an advantage in the end when you do launch it. And I think that the fact that it is outdoors, to me, I believe that that's a huge thing, because most people, everything's been, you know, an indoor thing, and then it's being brought outside. And but this is something that before COVID ever hit, it was like, I want to do the mobile. Is there any specific reason why you wanted to do the mobile and not a place?
You know, it's funny because really part of the decision was to cut down on cost. So by building something mobile, obviously we wouldn't have to pay rent for a retail space. You know, we could kind of take it all over Tampa Bay. We could set up for events in St. Pete. We could set up for events in Tampa. We could take it to the beaches. You know, we can kind of be all over. And that was part of the appeal to it. And just being able to, if we want to park it and not run it for a couple of weeks and we're both on vacation, then that's fine. You know, or we have people out. It's not like we have to, like a store, you have to, once you open, you know, you have to set hours and you have to man that store all the time.
Wow.
So, you know, we kind of had all these ideas in our head that, A, we could kind of keep the lifestyles we're currently living and have fun, you know, take days off, do our things, but also have this business. And so it just worked out really well, for now, not anticipating what was going to happen this year.
Yeah.
I think it was just sort of a, you know, serendipitous thing that we planned this, and now it's happening.
I think it's amazing. And I didn't realize that it's just something, just another something in your basket to do. It's just not one thing that you're focusing on. You have a lot of different things that, you know, you can do. And if you want to take a holiday, you're able to leave because you are your own boss, which I think is a very one thing to love about not working for someone is you set your own hours and stuff.
Absolutely.
And so I know that you do your design companies, so that's graphics and stuff. Okay, awesome. And then your music is just something, as of right now, that's just kind of, I mean, you've been doing it since I've known you, and that's been like 15 years, and you're on tour pretty much.
That's
I don't know.
right, yeah.
I don't know when you stopped touring, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I did a little touring last year in 2019, but I'd kind of slowed down. I started slowing down in 2018. And then in 2019, I did a small tour in the spring and then a small tour run in the fall. And that was pretty much it. But once again, it was just sort of one of those things that I planned before anybody knew COVID was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I just feel really fortunate the way I planned it, because I had already decided last fall to take all of 2020 off from music anyway. So I had no shows booked. I had nothing scheduled. And then 3 months later, COVID hits. And it was like, well, if I had had a bunch of stuff booked, I would have to cancel all my shows. I would be with it. So it was just sort of a lucky guess, I guess, in some ways to you know, have the music, kind of have it planned to take a break, and then to have the business in the works. Everything just sort of worked out in a fortunate way for me.
Yeah, I feel like you're really aligned. Like you found this balance, and your energy with everything is just really synced, and everything is like what you're putting out there, you're receiving back in the same way, because it's just it's not like this. It's just everything. It's like emotion, you know, and I think that that's, I think that this is me personally. I'm all about energy, and I can feel it. And I think that if I'm like super uptight or if I'm really stressed out, I feel like things around me don't work out because they can feel, or it's almost like if I'm having a really good day, things go in line. But when you're having a bad day, it's almost like as if everything just it goes wrong. And I think
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do believe that a lot of that's with energy. And I think that your energy that you've been putting out there it's really worked for you and it's coming around. And I'm super excited for you. And I
Thanks.
just wanted to know, so you do work for yourself, so you work
Yep.
from home. And how has COVID affected you? Has it affected you in your personal life outside of your business, since you do work at home?
Yeah, I mean, it has for sure. So, I would say business wise, it hasn't affected me that much. And I know we talked about that a little bit. Though it has some, not in the way I work, but in the amount of work that I have. I did find that, March and April and May, when everything started closing down and the economy kind of tanked, my workload lightened a good bit. I lost some projects, and this is my design business. So things did lighten up for me, and it made it a little more challenging. I had to start thinking a little more about, finances and savings and, different things. But thankfully, I'm grateful that I've continued to have at least a moderate amount of work, enough to, pay bills and
Yeah,
keep
absolutely.
my business running and all those types of things. So that's been good. But apart from the business side of things, I think the personal, family, it's affected me a great deal. But my grandmother passed away in April,
Oh, I am so sorry.
and it was it was unexpected, but kind of expected. As like she had Alzheimer's and dementia, and she'd had that for a number of years, and she just really wasn't living a quality type life at this point. And so, even though it was unexpected, her death, I know she's in a better place. But what sucked, what COVID really affected, was the fact that none of us were allowed to go to the funeral. She lives in North Carolina, lived in North Carolina, and I'm in Florida. So only my parents made the trek for the funeral from Alabama, and me missing that, it hit me hard. It affected me,
Oh,
for sure. I just wanted to be there to say goodbye, and I felt like without that closure,
and
I
this was
felt,
in April. This was early April. So, I mean,
yeah,
restrictions as far as, I know
everything
they
was
had to
shut
self
down. Yeah.
quarantine out. Did your parents have to self quarantine at all, or when they went out there, or no?
They didn't, but they had limited, like the funeral home had limited the graveside service to like 6 people, 6 or 8 people. Like everything was super small. They were allowing like 2 or 4 people in the nursing home at a time. So it was like super regulated. And
And yeah, I can't imagine not being able to say my farewell wishes to to someone, especially my own grandmother. I was actually there when my grandma passed away, and it was nice to be able to to give her that one last kiss and to tell her I love her. And but I know that COVID has really affected a lot of people in the sense that funerals in the beginning were not able to be. I think a lot of them were virtual.
yeah, yeah.
So and I'm sorry to hear that about your grandma, and I do
No,
believe she
thank you.
is in a better place. And I'd like to know, outside of work, is there anything that COVID has gotten you into, like anything new that you've like tapped into that you didn't really know before this happened? Like, because I've noticed with COVID, I have done a lot of self-reflection, and I'm actually seeing things like, wait a second, I actually like this. I didn't know that I had this in me. Like I helped my mom plant a vegetable garden, and I was doing
Oh,
some
nice.
carpentry work. So, I mean, there's a little, I mean, I enjoyed it, or I'm interested in the subject to actually to do it. It's like, okay, this is really cool. Is there anything like that that you've,
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny, because I'm still really busy. Even though COVID has affected, I think a lot of people, they're out of work, so they're sitting at home and they're like, I don't know what to do, and they're trying to find stuff to do, and they're binging Netflix and they're doing all those things. Whereas for me, like at least my workload and my mind, my business, like I just never really slowed down, like from writing songs to doing design work to working on the cigar bar. Like I've just continued to stay busy. But in that I have in the last 6 months picked up candle making, which has
Oh,
been an interesting thing, kind of a random
that's
thing. Like,
awesome.
yeah, I love candles. I've always been a huge candle fan.
I'm a
Use
huge candle fan.
candle.
If you could make me a caramel candle, get the scent.
Oh, I
Um,
could totally do that at this point.
oh my God, I would.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite one that was wood. It's called Woodwick.
Oh
The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
candle. Their
Yep.
caramel one, they have caramel, salted caramel, but it is not the same smell as the caramel. And I actually bought four of when they stopped making it. I ordered the rest that they had online, and I've yet to use them. So those are
That's awesome.
so. If you could definitely
Well, when I get it all down, like I'm still work. I'll do like a test batch. I've done. I've got a citrusy one, like a desert flower one that I'm working on, and then the one that I love is a hazelnut and sea salt candle.
ooh,
And I've made a bunch of those, and I've been giving them away, like just little test samples for people
yeah. And
to
how's the
check
response?
out. Everybody likes it so far.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
good.
that's
So,
great. So
yeah,
well, is there anything that, as far as, so I know that you've been working a lot on your house. You said you've been working on the
yeah,
pool. I think one thing that's really good that I'm getting from you as far as, is that keeping yourself busy right now is really, just having that structure, because a lot of people who, um, let's say are out of jobs, like in
mhm,
my case, due to the entertainment business and not being able to do things live or whatnot, I haven't been able to find things consistent, and being displaced, and um, uh, I guess just having is trying to figure out a structure for myself has been one of the hardest things. So it was really important. What is really important for me is to see what are others doing out there, and how are they keeping themselves, their mental state, stable. And I think one of the main things that I speak with my therapist about is structure. And he's always saying, Breann, you need structure, a routine that, you know, and set little goals that you
yeah,
like get to check off. Because if you're just waiting there in the abyss of like, okay, something's going to happen one of these days,
yeah.
it really discourage you. And I know that that's what's happened to me. And so this project of reaching out to others to see how COVID has affected them, and if it has affected them, and it's all been different. What the main thing is, as far as their mental state, what have they done to keep them to keep going? And I guess what I'm getting from you, what you know, is that you've got your work, and then your candle making and remodeling the pool, and stuff like that, and then your music and the writing. And I think that's great. But you do, I will say, you have to find some time, like a little balance where you, like Nate time, where you get a little rest out outside of, because I know that my husband, he doesn't, he's a workaholic, and I'm getting that from you, that you just don't stop. You get into the zone because you enjoy it,
Yeah.
but you need to find some time for Nate to just kind of relax. Maybe that's the candle making, if that's, you know, I mean, that's a very soothing thing. And I know for myself, music is very
Yeah.
much sitting back and just being able to play, even if I sound like however that I sound. But it is
No,
for
you
me,
sound great.
it's thank you. We'll have to play for sure. But
I know. Oh,
I'm really excited for you, and what I've gotten from you is what's really helped you a lot is the structure and having a routine. And
yep.
you know, you've come across your obstacles. You know, when they've come up, you've been able to in a way, it's like, even though it wasn't planned, um, and you've had options outside of it. It's not like you're just doing one thing and you're narrowing it in.
Right.
You've had yourself spread out. So if something didn't work, you've had something else to fall back on. And I think that was, you know, subconsciously a really, because I don't know if you meant, I mean, with COVID happening, it's not something that you'd be like, okay, I need to have all these little things going on. I think that subconsciously doing that and having that just doing that instinctively. That's just how you've always been, has really helped you. And I think it's a great quality to have, to be able to do different things. Cause I'm finding it really hard right now. So like time management, I was really good before, and now I really am not the best at
I, I
that.
I think for me, like, I think maybe one of the differences between us, like, you're displaced from home. You know, you're in a new spot in a new, and I am blessed to have been able to stay in my home. You know, so I have all the the comforts of knowing that I'm in my own environment and I can be by myself when I want to, and I have my dog here, and it's, you know, I have my yard to work on, which I was doing today right before I came into this call, and like there's all these things that, you know, comfort me, and it just feels like home and it feels safe. And
Right.
for you, like, I can't imagine being displaced in another environment, in another house, in another state for all these months. Like, I think it would drive me crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I just
We've been here since March. So we got here March 10th, and then COVID hit on the 16th, and it
yeah.
just was really, it just, it came out of, you know, I mean, I mean, none of us were expecting this at all,
No,
and
no.
especially not this long. And so, and I know that, you know, Los Angeles, California alone, it's the COVID has. I'm not really sure what phase they're in right now. I don't even know what phase we are in right now in Florida.
I don't either. I don't.
I
I
haven't
can't
left
keep
the room.
track
I
of
haven't left
anything.
the house since literally March. I've gotten my hair done twice, but I have not gone to a grocery store, had any
Really?
communication with anyone. I've gone to the beach maybe twice. Everything was distant, but other than that, I have been a recluse, and I think that is what has um, that's what really hindered my mental state. And I was, if it wasn't for this project that I'm working on,
Yeah.
I don't think I would be sane whatsoever. So
Yeah.
this is something that I'm excited about, because I get to enjoy talking to you, and we'll get to. I have something to look forward to with the guitar. We'll play a little session, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll have to talk about that. But I really want to thank you so much
Yeah.
for taking the
Absolutely.
time to talk to me about how, you know, your cigar company, which I'm super excited for you. And
True.
um, I appreciate your time. You know, this is like my first interview, but I'll cut that out.
Well, no, I mean, you don't have to. I'm honored to be the first.